Howdy. Hi. I'm a stranger. It's been a while. I took a few weeks off. Actually, 2 weeks to be precise. And that wasn't for any other reason than I had started to accumulate some followers and some subscribers. Enough people that when I was going out, going about my daily business, there were plenty of people who were like, hey, I saw your podcast, and hey, that one was a little weird, or that was hysterical, or whatever. And once I realized that, I was like, okay, I dipped my toe in. That's all well and good. And I saw what could become of that. However, there is a lot of work that goes into it. You record videos, you record the audio, you put them together. You have to obviously edit them, which takes a lot of time. You have to, and this is on top of everything else you have going on. For me, 3 jobs, etc., etc. So once I realized that there were enough people catching on to it, and it was something that I could really devote time to seriously, I had to then consider what it was exactly I wanted to do. So I created, 10, 12 videos as sort of a little social experiment, throwing them up on Facebook, and then creating my YouTube page just to see what would happen, so on and so forth. So I was able to check that. Oh my God, the Screen Actors Guild sending me messages several times a day. This is crazy what's going on. And that was I took a step back because of those reasons. I realized if I was going to continue to do this, it was going to take time. There was also a project that I was in development of, a small web series, a 8-episode or so web series, following the behind-the-scenes process of directing a show, picking the team around me, having auditions, picking the cast, rehearsals that would lead up to a stage production, which takes time, and that's a lengthy process. So that was one thing that I was focusing on. So I stopped making just any old videos. But now, time? Who gives a flying fuck about time right now? I got all the time in the world. Well, let me put it this way. They stopped filming, and like I said, I'm just receiving messages daily from the Screen Actors Guild. And I only say that because it's the whole union. It's the people that, it's money. It's a lot of money. So they stopped filming things about a week and a half ago, slowly. They seem to be a little bit ahead of the curve. Because there were several shows that I work on personally, that I had worked on personally, that I was seeing no longer in production, or no longer booking talent for the future. So there's nothing of that sort going on. And mind you, the shows that I work on film in Philadelphia. The day I was supposed to go and do stand-in work for Mayor of Easttown, which was that Kate Winslet show that I had put a video up about in the past, and I got booked to go and do stand-in work, which is stand-ins go with the director and the cinematographer to block out the scenes that they're about to film. They do the light setups, they do the camera movements, they put down the marks that actors are supposed to hit with my feet and my movement, they light the scene with my face and all of that. And then when the actors are done hair and makeup, they come in and we show them what their marks are. I was booked to do that. And unfortunately, because of the timing of everything, I wasn't able to take the job. I wasn't able to make it out of town to be able to make it there in time. So I missed out on that job, and it was the day after that the news struck that the first case of the coronavirus had been reported in Delaware County, which is exactly where I would have been filming. So yeah, kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess. But right now, because of the situation that we're in, I don't have any work. Nobody is drinking, so there's no bartending for me. Painting, which is usually a pretty big portion of my bread and butter and pocket money, nobody is really interested in having 3 young kids come in and paint their house for a week. And rightfully so. Undeniably, this is something that is unprecedented. It's never been done before. I'm only saying that first because obviously there are still fucking idiots out there who are like, oh, this is just the flu. I don't know, read a book, watch TV. I can't, because I'll otherwise just get angry and preachy, so I'm not going to do that. But there are people out there, predominantly people my age and younger people, and then some people who are just, maybe watching the wrong news stations. Either way, you should not be looking to your political leaders for information on this. They don't have they have nothing to do with this. They create policy. Basically, the politician's role is to make sure that there are no obstructions in the way of scientists and people who are educated on these things to be able to continue forth being productive in stopping it. That's their sole job. Right now, they seem to just be standing in the way. So not only are they not doing their job, they're actually doing exactly what it is they're supposed to be alleviating. And now we could see people can see how long it actually takes to get things done when they're like, oh, well, we have this stimulus package. We want to get $1,000 in the hands of all the people who are now pretty much asked to stay home and help participate, do the right thing, and just hunkering down for a while until we figure out what the hell this is, because the bottom line is no one knows. No one knows, except for a few people. There are certain people. What I would advise, just personally, is to check out videos on YouTube, credible videos, and we're all smart enough to know what's credible and what's not, I would hope. Or we are all smart enough to look at everything critically. But you'll find people who are not bound by any sort of contracts or agendas, or they have no other interests other than to just give information. So people like the doctor from across the pond, Dr. John Campbell, who's been updating videos daily, just showing facts and reporting on the things that are actually happening in other parts of the world, that just because we can't see doesn't mean they don't exist, But there was one thing that I thought about earlier that I found really interesting. There was this study that they did, I don't know, years ago, that took students from all around the world, and they gave them all a math test. I'm assuming it was all the same math test. And on the way out, they asked the students, oh, how do you think you did? And, the students from different countries answered in various ways. But when they asked the American student how they think they did, fucking nailed it, man. Fucking A+, A+++. Check, very interesting, says the scientist. And then they go back and they grade the tests. And not only did the Americans just it was the bottom. Americans were at the bottom. Last. Meaning they did the worst out of every country within this examination. But there is always a silver lining, folks. Americans were at the top of a list. The list of hubris, of confidence, blind confidence, mind you. I find that to be very interesting because it is being reflected right now. While the world burns over there, we're fine. But we got nothing to do with this. We're cool. We're number one. Not only that, but we have a man who sits up there and says as much. Because Donald Trump, by all means, is just a regular citizen with the mentality and the rhetoric of a regular citizen. He says what we say. That's why people loved him so much. However, that's really dangerous. That's why I'm not president. That's why you're not president. Because there is a difference, and there should be a difference. And the fact that we're seeing it now, not me personally, but that people are seeing it now, it's like, oh, well, too late. That's too late, because Yeah, it would have been real fun to have this jackass as president for however long, just to fuck with things and create some entertainment for you. Now that there's an actual crisis going on that is shining a flashlight on all of the bad parts of the government that weren't prepared or inadequate. On top of all that, you have an administration that doesn't even have the ability to utilize a functioning system, let alone now have to use one that was already squeaky. It's not funny anymore, because everyone said, well, there's an epidemic coming on, and where are all the closets and stockpiles of all this stuff that we thought we had? Like, oh, we should have masks, we should have all this, and we should have been far, far ahead of all this. We should have foreseen this. Hell, January was when word first came out about this, and of course, there was no one really in place to do that, because a lot of things were disbanded, as we know. And those are just the natural consequences of that, cut and dry. And the only ones that could be blamed for that are the people that did that, and the people that just blindly allowed that to happen. It doesn't really matter at this point, because the fact is everyone is starting to see that, oh boy, we failed the test. But we were very confident. We were number one. It's funny, somebody out the other day during a press conference, one of the reporters asked Donald Trump the question, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your response to this disaster? And this is a question that is designed to illustrate something. I mean, and Donald Trump not being wise enough to know that the man is asking this question because there's only one way you can answer it. And the one way you can answer it is to admit that, you can't give yourself... Teachers do this when we're in school. They always have that test where they allow you to grade yourself, and it's a test in and of itself. And only the assholes give themselves an A. And everyone else who just assumed human ignorance and gave themselves a B just for the sake of that can now look at everyone else who gave themselves an A and be like, oh, you're that type of person. So Donald Trump should have known that. That's what that question was designed to do. And they cut to the man's face while Donald Trump is answering it. Like, after Donald Trump says, 10, I give myself a 10, which is what this guy knew Donald Trump was going to say. They cut to the guy's face in total satisfaction of, thank you, sir. Now we know that you are that kind of asshole, which we've already known. See, for me, it's just becoming really infuriating that we're trying to beat this dead horse in Donald Trump, thinking and hoping that it's going to be different, while we're wasting valuable time to actually... They're allowing Donald Trump to stand in front of very intelligent people behind him and take the lead. So basically they're filtering facts and very well thought out, thoughtful, tested information. They're filtering that through a fucking rock. So why are the 5 people behind him not talking? Every once in a while, he'll let them come up and say their piece, or translate, or do damage control in real time for what he had just said, as it, miraculously flows through. People don't like when I use that term. I mean, this is laughable. So to me, I just get angry at people now, because we keep going and asking him, why are we asking him, why the fuck are we asking that man questions? I don't have the time to prattle on about this now. This is just a welcome back. This is great. I can continue this. So, we're back. We'll have fun. We'll talk. We'll stay sane. We'll entertain. We'll fucking